as the sun sets behind the majestic silhouette of Mount Fuji, we turn our gaze to a different kind of Fuji, one of the many Fujis to grace the sumo ring with honor and strength. Yokozuna Kitanofuji, a name that has been etched into the annals of sumo history, stands as a testament to the spirit of perseverance, power, and tradition. Today, we pay tribute not only to the man, but to the legacy he left behind. A legacy that continues to inspire fans and wrestlers alike. Let's journey through the life and achievements of the iconic Yokozuna, a true symbol of sumo's enduring spirit. Welcome to the Sumo Flashback channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. On March 28, 1942, in the quiet town of Ihoro in Hokkaido district, a boy named Katsuyaki was born, the second of 7 siblings in a household. Little did anyone know this boy would one day become Yokozuna Kitanofuji, a name revered in the world of sumo. His early years were a mixture of promise and hardship. At just 6 years old, his family moved to Rumoi. He enrolled in the Rumoi Elementary School. It was here that his talent for sport began to shine, joining the softball team, then the strongest in Hokkaido. He quickly became their star pitcher. His skill on the field was undeniable, and as he advanced to Rumoi Junior High, he continued to lead his team, excelling both as a pitcher and a batter. But life wasn't all smooth sailing. Behind the scenes, his family faced significant struggles. His father's business venture often failed, forcing him to pack up and flee from the house not just once, but 3 times, and left the family to face uncertainty. Despite these challenges, he never let hardship define him. Instead, it became a quiet fire, fueling his determination to succeed. Years later, as a Yokozuna, Kitanofuji referred to those difficult times with a sense of humor. In June 2021, NHK's Sumo broadcast shared a photo of him and his family during his prime. Seeing the image, he fondly recalled his father saying, "He loved alcohol. He really loved alcohol, but he lived a long life." It was a simple but heartwarming reminder of where he came from and the people who shaped him. In the summer of 1954, at the port of Rumoi, he welcomed a sumo wrestling tour, a rare and exciting event for the locals. Among the visitors was the legendary Yokozuna Chionoyama, whose presence commanded respect wherever he went. During his time in the town, Chionoyama stopped by a small restaurant run by no other but his father. As he stood by, Chionoyama approached him with a question that would change his life forever. "Why don't you try sumo and see?" These simple words placed a seed of possibility in the 12-year-old boy's mind, sparkling an interest in sumo that he couldn't shake off. Though he continued to shine as a softball player, earning admiration for his pitching and batting skills, the Yokozuna's words always lingered in his mind. Offers from various prestigious high schools poured in, yet despite the many opportunities, the path was clear. The personal call from Yokozuna Chionoyama had left an impression on him. With the determination, he turned down every offer upon graduating from high school and joined the prestigious Iwanomi stable. It was here that his journey into the sumo world began, a journey that would see him rise to the highest point in sumo as Yokozuna Kitanofuji. Katsuyaki's decision to enter the sumo world wasn't purely driven by ambition, it was also shaped by circumstances. While his talent on the baseball field had been undeniable, an unfortunate injury to his right elbow during middle school dashed his hope of pursuing the sport further. With no prospect of recovery in the time of high school, he began to look elsewhere. Years later, in a behind-the-scene moment captured by May 2021 Grand Sumo Tournament, he reflected on this turning point with a mix of humor and humility. "I had no choice. I had no control. I was a slow runner, so I gave up baseball in high school and took up sumo." But the story didn't end there. Financial hardship weighed heavily on his family. After his father's business failed, the family struggled to make ends meet. To ease the burden, he was placed under the care of Yokozuna Kitanofuji's Supporters Association, a decision made to reduce the number of mouths to feed. It was under these difficult circumstances that he embarked on his journey to Tokyo. After arriving at the station in his school uniform and a simple getaway sandals, he carried little more than 3 bags of beans his mother had given him to exchange for emergency cash. However, fate played a cruel joke on him. He tripped and spilled the beans across the road, leaving him both flustered and empty-handed. This bittersweet beginning marked the start of his new life, a life of hardship, determination, and eventually triumph in the world of sumo. From these humble beginnings, the boy from Hokkaido would rise to become a Yokozuna Kitanofuji. In January 1957, he made his debut in sumo, joining the Dewa Nomi stable under the Shikona Takazawa. However, the trip to Tokyo was so difficult and rough. By the time he arrived, he had lost so much weight that when he took the examination, he was considered underweight. When the March tournament came around, he made sure to drink a lot of water just before the weigh-in, and this time he passed the weight requirement. His early sumo style was simple but effective, and that earned him the nickname Rice Cut and Spear Squid. Despite his skills, he was extremely thin, and his promotion through the ranks was also very slow. After 30 tournaments, he was at risk of being forced to retire if he wasn't promoted to the Makushita division. Learning of this, he found a renewed sense of purpose. By 1960, he was promoted to the 3rd division. However, during the summer tour of that year in Hokkaido, he endured training in the hands of senior wrestlers, nearly to the point of abuse. The intense training led to appendicitis, and though he continued with the tour, his health failed. Upon reaching his hometown, he was hospitalized for 50 days. Due to the series of bad luck, his sponsor suggested a change of fortune and a change in his name. From the September 1960 tournament, he chose the name Kitanofuji. Although he missed the September tournament due to his sickness, he made his debut under the new name in the November tournament. At the same year, the former Dewa Nomi passed away, the 31st Yokozuna. He fell under the leadership of the new Oyakata Dewa Nohana. Under his leadership, his talent began to blossom. Finally, in the March 1963 tournament, he was promoted to the junior division and he scored a 9-6 record. But it was in the November 1963 tournament that Kitanofuji's true strength came out, winning the tournament flawlessly, being the 3rd person in history to have won all matches in the junior division, marking the beginning of the rise to greatness. In his debut in the top division in the January 1964 tournament, where he made an immediate impact by winning 13 matches and losing only 2. This performance set a new record for the most wins by a new top division wrestler. His impressive showing earned him the Fighting Spirit Award. By the March tournament of the same year, Kitanofuji's success went up and he was promoted to the Komusubi rank, and by July, he had reached Sekiwaki. His sumo style was known for its speed. It became his defining feature for his career. Kitanofuji himself admitted that he had been advised to either fix his high waist or increase his speed. Opting for the latter, he embraced the rapid, dynamic approach that would become his trademark. Kitanofuji's sumo style was marked by precision and keen understanding of his opponent's movements. His favored grip were the right hand on his opponent's mawashi and his left hand inside his opponent's mawashi. This powerful stance gave him the leverage needed for various techniques. Among the most common kimarite or winning techniques were yorikiri and the outer leg trip, and also overarm throw, a move that required both strength and timing to execute successfully. And of course, Kitanofuji's slap-down technique was one of the techniques he used. In May 1965, he found himself in a conspiracy. He had received a handgun as a gift from a female sponsor. Though he became frightened and left the weapon with his master, the situation drew attention and was referred to the stable authorities. Despite the seriousness of the case, the Japan Sumo Association decided not to take any action. After a string of solid performance, Kitanofuji was promoted to ozeki during the July 1966 tournament. Despite having a record of 28 wins and 17 losses across 3 tournaments, he was promoted. His record, which included performances of 8-7, 10-5, and 10-5, was exceptional at the point, yet the ozeki requirement was 33 wins. With only one ozeki, Takayama, at the time, Kitanofuji's promotion came as a surprise. Kitanofuji himself was caught off guard by the promotion. On the morning of the ceremony, he had no idea of the decision and was fast asleep. It wasn't until he was woken up by his stable mate that he learned of the promotion. In the rush, neither Kitanofuji nor the Wanomi stable had prepared the necessary ceremonial attire, such as the kimono and socks. In a scramble, he borrowed some from his senior apprentice, Yokozuna Kitanofuji, and also socks that fit him perfectly. With these last-minute arrangements, Kitanofuji made it just in time for the ceremony. Adding to the unusual nature of the day, their stable master and wife were not present because they had no idea of the ceremony. And as such, Yokozuna Kitanofuji stepped in as a substitute to witness it on behalf of the master, making this ceremony the most memorable and unconventional ozeki promotion. Kitanofuji's career was filled with pivotal moments, and one of the most significant ones came when he faced a crossroad in his sumo journey. When Kokonoe, the former Yokozuna Kitanofuji, was leaving the stable, he was left with a difficult decision whether to follow Yokozuna Kitanofuji or stay in his stable. In the end, Kitanofuji decided to follow Yokozuna Kitanofuji and change his affiliation. At first, life outside the Dewanomi stable was not easy for Kitanofuji. The transition was challenging, and during tours, he even found himself sharing a futon with his stable master. But with the intimidating senior wrestlers like Yokozuna Kitanofuji gone, Kitanofuji was finally free to perform without constraint. This newfound freedom would lead to his breakthrough in March 1967. In his first tournament after leaving the Dewanomi stable, Kitanofuji achieved something that he had long wanted. He claimed his first Makunochi Division Championship with a record of 14-1 and even going on to defeat his former stable mate Yokozuna Kitanofuji. This victory marked a turning point in his career, and as if to solidify it, one of his stable mates won the Juro Championship. His triumphant in this tournament laid the ground as he began to establish himself as one of the dominant and most respected wrestlers at his time. However, the road to Yokozuna wasn't without a setback. In the May 1967 tournament, where Kitanofuji was expected to secure his Yokozuna promotion, he faced immense pressure. Due to this excessive tension and lack of proper training, he ended up with a disappointing 5 wins and 10 losses. In the following July tournament, his performance was similarly underwhelming with 7 wins and 8 losses, making 2 consecutive losing scores as an ozeki. Kitanofuji was at a crossroad. In the September 1967 tournament, ranked at ozeki, he was shadow banned for the first time. You might be asking, why wasn't he demoted after 2 losing scores? In 1958, a system had been implemented that stated that a wrestler who loses 3 consecutive tournaments as an ozeki will be demoted to sekiwake. This was known as the old system. Due to this rule, Kitanofuji had 1 more tournament to prove himself, which he did in the next tournament with a strong 10 wins and 5 losses, escaping the Kadoban rank. As a result of this, many ozeki never lost their rank. Due to this, there was a growing concern about this system, and many people suggested that it was too lenient. People felt the ozeki wrestlers should be held to higher standards. As a result, in the July 1969 tournament, the rules were adjusted. The new system stated that ozeki who loses 2 tournaments in a row will be demoted to sekiwake. Well, the history regarding the Kadoban rule is another topic for another video. After that, he continued to maintain around 10 wins per tournament. In the summer of 1969, something shifted in Kitanofuji. Known for his lack of motivation for training, he suddenly threw himself into a lot of training, almost as if he had become a different person. This transformation was sparked by a deeply personal experience. The man who had cared for him before his sumo career began to feel ill. It was noted that he will not live for long. His final wishes were, "Work hard. I believe you can make it in the top division." This motivated Kitanofuji to dedicate himself fully in sumo. In the September 1969 tournament, Kitanofuji fought alongside Tamanomi for the championship, finishing with an impressive 12 wins and 3 losses. He followed that with a dominant performance in the November tournament, winning his second Makunochi tournament with a record of 13 wins and 2 losses, marking his second title in 16 tournaments. After the tournament, the Japan Sumo Association consulted the Yokozuna Deliberation Council about Kitanofuji's promotion. However, despite his strong performance, the decision was ultimately rejected by all 8 members of the commission, who felt he should wait and see how his performance would unfold in the next tournament. Tamanomi's performance had also been below expectation. By this time, the great Taiyo was the only remaining Yokozuna who was showing signs of decline, and the pressure for a new Yokozuna was mounting. Kitanofuji, who had met all the initial requirements for promotion, was once again under scrutiny. Reporters suggested that his promotion was unlikely, and when Kitanofuji heard that his promotion had been rejected, he sadly said with a surprising calm face, "I had pretty much given up, so I am not disappointed." During the tour following the November tournament, most wrestlers struggled to maintain their training due to bad weather. However, Kitanofuji stood out as the only wrestler who attended all the training sessions. Taiyo, who accompanied him on the tour, commented, "These were times when I wondered if it was really Kitanofuji. I believe that I trained hard as anyone else from the time I was an ozeki to Yokozuna. But Kitanofuji now trains with great enthusiasm. In the January 1970 tournament, with Taiho absent and no Yokozuna at the rank, it was predicted that any of the 4 ozeki could become champion. Kitanofuji proved the prediction right, finishing with 13 wins and 2 losses. In the final match, he defeated Tamanomi with an outside grip, securing his 2nd consecutive victory. After the tournament, the Yokozuna Deliberation Council gave their unquestionable approval. Alongside his rival Tamanomi, Kitanofuji was fully promoted to Yokozuna. His promotion after 21 tournaments as an ozeki set a record for the longest wait that somebody was promoted to Yokozuna. At his Yokozuna promotion ceremony, he declared, "I will do my best," marking the beginning of a new chapter as a Yokozuna. Kitanofuji was both the greatest rival and closest friend of Tamanomi, who later changed his name from Tamanoshima when he was promoted to Yokozuna. Despite their rivalry, they affectionately called each other Shima-chan, Kita-chan. Kitanofuji's own Yokozuna dohyo was the Anryu style. But one notable exception during the August 1971 tour, where we had 2 groups, Group A followed with Group B, touring various regions around Hokkaido. Group A was led by Kitanofuji and Group B was led by Tamanomi. Tamanomi was hospitalized with acute appendicitis. Group A, which had just moved from one part of Hokkaido, quickly joined Group B's team. Kitanofuji joined Group B and performed the dohyo iri during August 23rd. When he arrived on the scene, he borrowed the dohyo iri equipment of his fellow Yokozuna and performed the shiranori style. This marked the first time in history that a Yokozuna has performed both the Anryu and shiranori style. At the time, one reporter called and said, "Kitanomi performed the shiranori style. You can tell the difference from the knot at the back. The Anryu had one style when he was at one point in Hokkaido. But when he performed this, he performed the shiranori style." Before both wrestlers were promoted to Yokozuna, their head-to-head record were 7 wins and 16 losses in favor of Tamanomi. However, since their promotion to Yokozuna in March 1970, Kitanofuji led the record with 6 wins and 4 losses. Kitanofuji and Tamanomi faced off 43 times over 45 tournaments between May 1964 and September 1971. 8 of these matches were the final bouts of the tournament, and in 2 of them, both wrestlers were still in contention for the championship on the final day. Kitanofuji's first title as a Yokozuna came in May 1970, and after a series of 11-4 records, Kitanofuji won the May 1971 tournament with a perfect record. In the 4 tournaments following the 1971 January tournament, in which Yokozuna Taiho claimed his 32nd and final championship, Tamanomi and Kitanofuji alternated victories. Notably, in July 1971 tournament, Tamanomi won his first and ultimately his last undefeated championship, while Kitanofuji only managed 8 wins, leading to a mixed performance. However, in the following September tournament, Kitanofuji defeated Tamanomi in the final day and won the championship undefeated, making a perfect comeback. This victory was seen by many as the beginning of the Kitama era, but this era was short-lived. Tamanomi, who had been hospitalized during the tour, suffered a sudden decline in health following the September 1971 tournament. He was rushed to the hospital due to worsening appendicitis and underwent surgery. However, on September 11, 1971, the day before he was to be discharged, Tamanomi tragically passed away. When Kitanofuji learned of his close friend's unfortunate death, he was on a tour and was seen weeping bitterly and openly. On November 28, 1971, during the final day of the November tournament, Kitanofuji won his 8th championship with a record of 13 wins and 2 losses. However, a memorial service for Tamanomi was held near the venue of the Fukuoka Sports Center, so Kitanofuji postponed his victory parade and rushed to attend the service, paying his respect to his fallen rival and friend. Tamanomi's sudden death in October 1971 deeply affected Kitanofuji, impacting his performance in the ring. In the January 1972 tournament, where he was expected to win 3 consecutive championships and was considered the favorite, he unexpectedly lost to Ozeki Kotozakura on the first day. From there, his form fell with 6 wins and 4 losses by the 10th day, followed by consecutive losses on the 12th and 13th day. By the 14th day, he withdrew from the tournament due to health issues, including high blood pressure, finishing with 7 wins and 7 losses. This marked the end of his consecutive winning streak in the top division, which had lasted for 26 tournaments from September 1967 to November 1971. Reflecting on his absence from the tournament, he later joked during the NHK Grand Sumo broadcast, saying, "Most Yokozunas who miss tournaments have high blood pressure. There is no name for the disease." In the March 1972 tournament, Kitanofuji quickly lost points from the start, dropping out of the championship race and finishing with a record of 9 wins and 6 losses. In the following May tournament, his form worsened, and by the 8th day, he had accumulated 3 wins and 5 losses. On the 9th day, he withdrew from the tournament due to insomnia, which was an unprecedented condition for a Yokozuna. Although he felt terrible, there were no outward signs of sickness. When the doctor asked if he could sleep at night, Kitanofuji admitted, "I have been having trouble sleeping lately, mainly due to anxiety over his poor performance." The doctor, at a loss for a diagnosis, reluctantly wrote on the certificate stating, "In that case, you must have insomnia." Kitanofuji then missed the entire July tournament after dislocating his middle finger on his right hand. However, it was later revealed that he had traveled to Hawaii during his absence and received a strong warning from the Sumo Association. Kitanofuji returned to Japan and immediately apologized and participated in the summer tour. In the September 1972 tournament, Kitanofuji won his 3rd undefeated tournament, signaling a complete recovery. However, during the 8th tournament, where only 1 Yokozuna participated, there was a shift in the sumo world. Wajima won his first tournament in May, and Takamiyama also claimed his first in July. Meanwhile, Takanohana and Wajima were promoted to ozeki after the September tournament, marking a generational shift. In the January 1973 tournament, Kotozakura was promoted to Yokozuna, meaning there was now 2 Yokozuna. In the March tournament of 1973, Kitanofuji claimed his 10th championship with a 14-1 record. He also faced Kotozakura in the July tournament's deciding match, again finishing with a 14-1 record, demonstrating his continued strength. However, in the following year, his condition rapidly declined, particularly after injuring his right knee during the practice before the March 1974 tournament, an injury that proved to be fatal. After missing 3 consecutive tournaments, Kitanofuji's decline continued. In the July 1974 tournament, he lost the first 2 days, and an hour after that, he announced his retirement due to physical limitation. In the press conference the following day, Kitanofuji said, "I slept well last night. There are no sumo matches for me today, so I drank a lot." Kitanofuji's total of 10 championships was at the time surpassed by only Futabayama's 12 and Taiho's 32. With Kitanofuji's retirement, all former Yokozuna born before and during the war had now retired. Kitanofuji's retirement took place on February 2nd, 1975, where he entered the ring as a Yokozuna accompanied by Kitanomi and Wajima. After the hair cutting ceremony, he surprised audience and people who attended by singing a song in white tuxedo. After retiring, Kitanofuji established the Izutsu stable. However, due to his expensive lifestyle during his active years, he faced financial difficulty in running the stable. He resolved this by finding land in Edogawa, away from the high-priced land of Rogoku. Despite being the stable master, he lacked a proper home and had to live next to his younger wrestlers. 2 years after founding the stable, the number of apprentices grew to about 20, with increasing number of potential secretary. When Chonoyama passed away in 1977, Kitanofuji inherited the Kokonoe stable and merged it with his own. He also welcomed Chonofuji, a wrestler who had originally been a disciple of Chonoyama, but had fallen to the Makushita division after his debut 2 years before Kitanofuji's Kokonoe succession. At the time of Kitanofuji's succession, he was in Juryo, but soon returned to the Makunouchi division under Kitanofuji's guidance. Chonofuji established himself as a prominent wrestler after overcoming a dislocated shoulder. Kitanofuji trained Chonofuji to succeed him as the 58th Yokozuna and help him become one of the greatest Yokozuna of the Showa era, going on to win 31 championships. In Chonofuji's book I Can't Lose, he reflected on Kitanofuji's training style, saying, "The stable master does not nag me much, but he does say something when it matters, which tickles my heart and makes me want to fight back. He knows how to motivate me, and after that he pretends not to notice." In 1987, Kitanofuji also trained Hotomi to become the 68th Yokozuna and promoted Takanofuji and Tomofuji to the Komosui rank. When Chonofuji was promoted to Yokozuna after the July 1981 tournament, Kitanofuji gave him advice on the dignity of retirement, telling him, "Woof, when you retire, you should do it cleanly and with dignity. You can't drag your feet and be Yokozuna." Though Chonofuji was initially taken back by this, he retired at the same grace and honor in May 1991 as Kitanofuji had advised. In 1982, while serving as the deputy head of refereeing department with executive status, Kitanofuji was involved in a scandal when a gangster who he knew attended the wedding of Yokozuna Chonofuji. As a result, he was demoted to a committee member without a specific post. However, he later returned to this position and went on to serve as the head of the refereeing department for many years after being promoted to director. In 1992, Kitanofuji handed over the Kokonoe stable to Chonofuji. With their professional relationship, they continued to stay in touch after Chonofuji's retirement, with Chonofuji even attending his 60th birthday dohyo iri ceremony. Kitanofuji had declined and denied bad blood between him and Chonofuji, emphasizing their good bond. To celebrate his 60th birthday in February 2002, Kitanofuji entered the ring for a special ceremony accompanied by his two students Chonofuji and the former Hotomi. In 1998, Kitanofuji left the Japan Sumo Association after being removed from the board of directors election. He had been expected to become the chairman in the future, but later remarked, "I don't have any motivation to do it forever. It is shameful to cling on to a position. After leaving the association, Kitanofuji worked as an executive sumo commentator in the NHK broadcast, becoming the first experienced sumo commentator with a background as an ozeki or higher to join NHK's team since the start of TV broadcasting. Kitanofuji passed away from pancreatic cancer on July 31, 2016 at the age of 61, following the death of other great Showa-era Yokozuna, Taiho in January 2013 and former chairman Kitanomi in November 2015. Kitanofuji expressed his shock remarking, "I wonder why they are passing away in the order of their strength." He also said, "This is not about being young anymore. Kitanofuji himself must be the most upset about this." Kitanofuji celebrated his 80th birthday on March 28, 2022, becoming the 5th Yokozuna to reach his 80s, joining the rank of the first Umegatani and the first Wakanohana and Tochiyomi. His father had lived to be 101, and Kitanofuji set a new record for himself to live to 85, the age at which his grandchildren would be old enough to understand. He also expressed his desire to break the record for the longest living Yokozuna. In the spring of 2023, Kitanofuji fell ill and took a break from commentary, and in the spring of that year, he underwent heart surgery. Kitanofuji passed away on the morning of November 12, 2024 at the age of 82, following a medical treatment since November. His death was announced on November 20, 2024. A private family funeral had already been held, but a farewell ceremony was scheduled to take place at the Hakaku stable in November of the year 2024. Though Kitanofuji had hoped to become the longest-lived former Yokozuna, he was unable to achieve his goal. On December 8, a memorial was held for him, which was attended by approximately over 2,000 people, including former stable masters and current stable masters, and Hakaku, his former student. During the ceremony, Chairman Hakaku emotionally stated, "Today I will call you Oyakata," and through tears he added, "I met you when I was 14 years, and thanks to you I am who I am today." Kitanofuji's career record consisted of 786 wins, 427 losses, and a total of 1,208 matches across 105 tournaments. In the top division, he recorded 592 wins, 284 losses over 64 tournaments. He also participated in 5 tournaments in the junior division, winning 49 and losing 26, and 10 tournaments in the Makushita division, achieving 46 wins and 24 losses. In the lower divisions, Kitanofuji posted 51 wins, 40 losses in the Sandame across 13 tournaments, and 46 wins and 42 losses in the Jonidan division across 11 tournaments. Kitanofuji's life and career shows the value of persistence, resilience, and adaptivity. Rising to the rank of Yokozuna, he overcame physical and emotional challenges from the loss of his close friend and rival, demonstrating the importance of mental strength in the face of adversity. Beyond his sumo accomplishments, his record of being a stable master, nurturing the future champions like Kitanofuji underscores the importance of mentorship and giving back to the community. His approach to leadership, where he motivated his apprentices with a quiet but effective style, teaches us the value of guiding others with wisdom and patience. Next, we have Ozumo de Nihongo Manabo. The interviewer said, "Kyushu no suki na Tokuro oshiete kudasai. Kyushu, Japan's third largest island. No is a possessive article. Example, watashi no pen, meaning my pen. Skina means to like. So for example, we have skina yokozuna, the yokozuna I like. Skina kimarite, the winning technique I like. We have tokoro. Tokoro refers to a place in time or in space. O, the Japanese article O marks the direct object of a sentence or the thing that is affected by the verb. It is pronounced O with a silence of the W. Sumo mimasu. Sumo mimasu means I am watching sumo. Oshiete kudasai. Oshiete kudasai. It's a Japanese phrase that translates please teach me or please tell me. Skina yokozuna o oshiete kudasai. Skina kimarite o oshiete kudasai, which means the yokozuna you like, please tell me, or tell me the yokozuna you like. Skina kimarite o oshiete kudasai. Please tell me the winning technique that you like. Okay, that's it guys. Thank you guys for watching this video, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the Sumo Flashback channel, and also watch other videos on this channel, and see you in the next one. Arigatou gozaimasu.